Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, I'm about to take you on a wild ride through one of those awkward but somehow unforgettable moments from school that we all try to forget. But deep down, we know it'll be with us forever. You know the kind of story I'm talking about, right? The one where you're sitting in class trying to act all grown up, but then, bam, you realize you have a crush on your teacher? Yep, that kind of crush. The one that made you feel like you were in the middle of a teen drama. Only to realize, maybe you shouldn't be crushing on your teacher after all. So let's dive in, because if you've ever had a student crush on a teacher, you'll totally get where I'm coming from. Trust me, this one's a doozy. You ready? It all started in ninth grade, the age when everything feels like a big deal, especially your feelings. I remember the first day I walked into his class. He was this super cool teacher, young, energetic, and, well, he had that charm. You know what I mean, right? The kind of teacher who would actually make history interesting even if you thought you'd rather eat chalk than study the topic. I couldn't help but notice how he seemed to have this natural way of explaining things. He'd walk around the classroom, engaging with everyone, making jokes, and suddenly you felt like you were in the best class ever. And let's be real, when you're in school, you're always looking for something or someone to make it a little less boring, right? So there I was, sitting in the front row. Yeah, I was that student who liked to be in the spotlight, trying to focus on what he was saying. But in my head, all I could think was, oh my god, am I actually crushing on him? Like, this wasn't just about admiring his teaching skills. No, there was something else. And it wasn't just me, right? Everybody was talking about how cool he was. But here's the kicker. There was one moment when I thought, okay, I'm definitely crushing now. He smiled at me during class. I'm not exaggerating. It was the type of smile that seemed to say, hey, you're doing a good job. But in my head, it was like the universe had just aligned, and I definitely got special treatment. Of course, I had to tell my friends. And you know how that goes. The moment you share a little secret, it becomes the whole school's topic of conversation. Suddenly, it wasn't just me who had a crush. It was everyone. My friends were practically shipping us, coming up with these hilarious dramatic scenarios where we were together, holding hands at the school fair, or, wait for it, writing our love story in the school yearbook. But here's where things got, well, awkward. One day, after class, I stayed behind to ask him a question. But, I accidentally stayed a little too long. And then it happened. He smiled at me again, and my heart nearly stopped. But this time, he looked at me like I was a student. And that, my friends, was the moment I realized, oh yeah, he's my teacher. I am way out of my league. I had to laugh at myself because that moment of realization was almost like a slap in the face of reality. Suddenly, all those tiny little interactions, like the way he helped me with that math problem or asked me how I was doing, became less magical and way more professional. It was funny, really. My friends had all these romantic ideas about him and me, but deep down, we all knew the truth. Student-teacher crushes are about as realistic as falling in love with your favorite Bollywood actor. But you know what? It wasn't just embarrassing. It was a lesson, in a way. Sometimes we get these crushes, and they feel like they're the end of the world. But in the end, it was a part of growing up. It made me realize that crushes are normal, and sometimes they help you learn more about yourself than about the person you're crushing on. As time went on, I realized that the best part of that experience wasn't even the crush itself. It was what it taught me. I learned about admiration, respect, and the way we can feel deeply for someone, even when we know it's not meant to be. And those memories still bring a smile to my face. Sure, it was a little embarrassing at the time, but it's just one of those things that makes school fun. Because the real lesson wasn't in math or history that year. It was in navigating those feelings and learning how to deal with them in a healthy, funny way. All right, now that I've shared my crush story with you, it's time for you to spill the beans. Have you ever had a teacher crush? Or maybe you've had a funny crush story from school that you still can't get over. Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your stories. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. I've got more hilarious, awkward, and sweet stories coming your way. Thanks for hanging out. And until next time, remember, your crushes might fade, but those school memories, they'll stick with you forever. Bye, everyone.